My vagina is a shell. It's a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower. It's an eccentric tulip. The center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I didn't always know this. I learned this in the Vagina workshop. I learned this from a woman who runs the Vagina workshop. A woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas. A woman who helps other women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the first session, the woman who ran the workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. And that's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew this big red mouth screaming with coins spilling out there. Another, like, very pale English girl drew unicorns and rainbows, whatever. I drew a huge black dot, little squiggly lines around it. And the black dot was equal to a black hole in space. And the squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic objects that got lost there. Yet I'd always seen my vagina as a kind of anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles and objects from around me. I didn't see my vagina in practical or biological terms. I didn't, for example, see it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. And then, after careful examination, we were to report verbally to the group what we saw. I must tell you that up until this point, every single thing that I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never really seen the thing. It never occurred for me to look at it. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. It felt reductive and awkward looking at it like we were in a workshop on shiny blue mats with hand mirrors. It reminded me of how early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this other bloody, complex world inside, right under the skin. It was so red, raw. It was so fresh. And the thing that really surprised me the most was all the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I wanted to lay there on my back, on my mat, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon. No ancient crazy. Okay, it had the innocence and freshness of a proper English garden. It was funny. Yeah, it was funny. Very funny. It made me laugh. It could hide and seek, open and close. And then the woman who ran the workshop, she says, how many women in the workshop have had orgasms? And two women kind of tentatively raised their hands. I didn't raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. They happen a lot in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happen on horses, of course, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. Yeah. I didn't raise my hand, although I had orgasms. I didn't know how to make one happen. They seemed like a mystical, magical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved. You know, it felt contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, the mystery. The problem was the surprise had gone for 2 years. I hadn't had an accidental, magical orgasm in a really long time, and I was frantic. And that's why I was in the Vagina workshop. Then the moment came that I both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop told us to take out our hand mirrors again to see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there, the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, looking for our spot, our locus, our reason. And I don't know why, right, but I start crying. Maybe it was the sheer embarrassment, maybe the knowing. The knowing that I had to give up the fantasy. The enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. The fantasy that someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, like to give me orgasm. Oh, the panic I felt coming. The sudden realization, terror. Oh, I lay back. Oh my God, I lay back. I put my hand mirror down, right? But I was frantic. I'm looking for my spot, trying to find it. And all I could think about was the time that I was 10 years old and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake, and how I kept diving over and over again to the bottom of the lake, running my hand over stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy stuff, never my ring. The woman who ran the workshop, she saw it, you know, she saw my insane scrambling, my sweating, my heavy breathing, and she came over and I told her, it's gone, it is gone. I lost my clitoris. I shouldn't have went swimming. And she just laughed. And she stroked my forehead and she told me, your clitoris is not something you can lose. It's you, it's the essence of you. It is both the doorbell to your house and the house itself. You don't have to find it, you have to be it. Be it, yeah. All right, be it. Be my clitoris. So I closed my eyes, put the mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself. And I watched myself approach myself and then like slowly re-enter myself. Like an astronaut re-entering the center of the earth. It was quiet, this re-entry. It was quiet and gentle. And I bounced and I landed and I landed and I bounced. I came into my own muscles, my blood cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy and I fit. I was all warm and ready and pulsing and young and alive. Then with my eyes still closed, wasn't looking, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. And there was a little quivering at first, which encouraged me to stay. And the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing. The quake broke into a horizon of silence and light, which moved into a plane of colors and connection and innocence and longing. I felt connection. I felt calling connection as I lay there thrashing about on my little blue mat. See, my vagina it's a shell. It's a tulip. It's a destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to leave. My vagina, me.